I'll tell you what we're really good at, and that's and it's I don't know that I discovered it or invented it or whatever, but as a permaculture designer, we basically we show everybody how you can grow all of your food basically with little cost or nothing at all. For example, we raise all of our egg layers for free. We raise all of our meat birds for free. We raise our sheep for free, cows for free. The only thing we are not necessarily in the black on would be our pigs, and we raise those for 21 cents a pound using using a lot of good, awesome permaculture methods, but particularly using waste streams from other places that would normally throw this stuff in the garbage. So, and then we take the byproduct of all the things that we can't eat, and it basically goes back to the animals. So it's a really cool loop, and it can be as complicated or as easy as you want, but yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah, because feed for livestock's the big one. If you're running livestock, you got to be able to feed those animals, and that's the big hang up for large livestock. Obviously, most people don't have enough grass anywhere in the country to feed cows year round. Figured out a way to close that circle, that loop, like you said, so that all the product is being put to use.
We can start with like the most gateway of all animals, which most people would say chickens, right? So if you go out there and you buy your feed right off the shelf, you're not one dime ahead if you're producing your own eggs. Now, you do have the peace of mind of knowing, okay, well, I know what they were fed. I know where they were. I know all these things. Same thing when it comes to your meat birds. So if you're raising, let's say, Cornish crosses or anything else, I'm not a big fan of those birds for a whole list of reasons if you want to know about that. But the point being is that if you're using off the shelf feed, you're not money ahead in any way, shape, or form. So that's why we brought to bear methods from people like Joel Salatin, people like Sean and Beth Doherty, and found intermediate points where there might have been holes in their games, and basically came up with a way of using all these different means to come up with a way where we use methods like for raising chickens called the chicken tractor on steroids. To really learn this method, we sent our son to Australia to learn under the very best in the world, and that being Jeff Lawton in Zaytuna Farm in Australia. Basically came back with that knowledge, dropped it off here, and then we advanced it to the point where it requires even fewer inputs than the one he had, most of which are pretty doggone available at most places. So the beauty about these systems is that if you now there is a double-edged sword here, because if you're buying it off the shelf, well, it requires less out of you. But if you're doing it the way I'm talking about, well, it's going to require more elbow. It requires more out of you, essentially. So there is a zero-sum game regarding all this stuff. So yeah, we can absolutely feed all of our animals for free. All 6 freezers out there are plumb full with animals that we raise for free or that we've harvested, whether it be deer or anything else. But right now, I can't stick another critter in there. So and these methods are so good, they work so well that just this last year alone, I had to give away 3 pigs. Now, I showed them how to process them. I just don't give it away. You're going to come out here and put in some work. So we showed them how to butcher these pigs from start to finish, and we gave all that away. All of the meat birds, we had to give that away. And right now we got 5 people, 5 adults under this roof, and we still got to give away. That's how much abundance you can have just bringing the right dog to the hunt.
How many acres are you doing that on?
Well, we got land all over, but in this particular place, we'll call it about 12. But it's not even so much. It's not so much the land you own; it's the land you control. So using things like Greg Judy's methods, where I can lease out a place for next to nothing, absolutely next to nothing, and I don't have the tax burden. I don't have any of those things, but I control it because I can put it on a lease for 10 years. So I put in the perimeter fence, put in all the other infrastructure that might be needed. Now I control that land for pennies on the acre, really, when you get down to brass tack. So it's not so much how much land you have, at least from my perspective, it's how much land you control. So yeah, we own land in, here and a bunch of other undisclosed places. But point being is that at this particular place, we're showing that even on what some people would consider small acreage, let's say 12 acres, that we're producing so much abundance that we got to give it away. Food forests, tactical, what I call tactical food forests, the way we do it. And we can get more into that if you like. But yeah, you don't need much land if you can stack functions. And that's really the key to doing all this.